Hello and welcome to the 6th episode of the Fandom Flux podcast. I, once again, am your host, KCW. With me this week are Sergeant Baker, aka Ethan.
Hey.
King of Zero X, as we're calling Zero.
Once again, I am here.
And newcomer to the podcast, Tristin, also known on fanfiction.net as Have a Little Faith, with an E.
Hello.
Yay. So, that's everybody.
Kenshi
and Slicer were going to be on. Kenshi had to work. Slicer is ill or something. So, this is our cast for this week.
You just found better friends.
Yeah. Alright, so, what have we been doing this week? Start with Ethan, because why not?
Alright, well, I just finished catching up with the Attack on Titan anime, and I'm pretty happy about that. But now I kind of have a sense of emptiness because I'm trying to figure out what to watch now that I've caught up and have to wait for the next episode.
I know them feels.
I am watching the new one that came out, Kill la Kill. Have you guys heard of that one?
Yeah. Haven't seen it yet.
The first episode's out on Crunchyroll for free.
So what's that about? I've never heard of it.
It is a relatively new studio. However, the studio is sort of a cobbling of Studio Gainax and Studio 4C, and this is their first project. And one of the main directors is the guy who did most of the character design and directing on Gurren Lagann.
I could not care less. What's the show about?
It is basically about a giant boarding school that is kind of the last remnants of society. Like, this is post-apocalyptic. This is how we are surviving now. And in this high school, the student council runs rampant with power. Like, even the principal can do nothing to stop their iron grip on the school. And that is because of their student uniforms, which contain special powers. And one day, a transfer student shows up who calls out the head of the student council because she feels that she has some connection to this mystical artifact she has, which is a giant half of a pair of scissors.
So, well, that's something. So it's the absurdly powerful student council trope turned into post-apocalyptica.
Yeah.
That's something.
I kind of think of it as Akira and Fully Cooley.
If I had seen either of those, that would be vastly more informative, I imagine.
Okay, well, it's basically crazy kung fu action anime.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough, then. So is that all you've been doing, Ethan?
I've also been doing some other stuff, but that's for later topics.
Okay. Zero, do you want to go next?
Yeah, let's see. I had a pretty busy week. I went to the doctors, and they said that my burn I have is a second-degree burn. So I'm not working I haven't been working this entire week, so I am going on very, very, very small amounts of money. As you know, I'm working on a tighter budget than usual. One of my friends who's younger than me, she goes to my old high school, and there was one kid in her PE class that was he was in a group with a bunch of people, and they were all talking about fan fiction, and then he mentioned, King of Zero X, my name. And then my friend was like, oh, okay, I'll go join this group. And he was recommending, hey, you guys should read this story. I really love it. It's like I love the characters and their interactions, and he recommends it to my friend who, has read my stories and is my first fangirl. And so he goes and he's like, seriously, you need to read this story. And she's like, yeah, I know the author. He used to go to the school. And so that was really cool.
They have your name on a plaque before you are launched to superstardom.
I can't imagine that happening at all to me, ever.
Yeah, like I mean, I had to tell my friends that I was on a podcast just to be able to talk to them about it.
Mm.
And this is the one that found it really dull. So
Yeah,
I haven't even
fuck
like
that guy.
wrote any
It's
new
a girl.
chapters.
I
I haven't
too.
wrote any new chapters, so I didn't even plug it in chapters. I just put on my profile page, and apparently he's already listened to it.
Huh.
Go figure.
So, super fan. Also this week, I started watching 3 new animes, actually. I didn't get to Kill la Kill, but I saw Kyokai no Kanata, which is about a half yomu or sort of demon, Japanese demon guy. He's half, and he's like immortal, and then
All
he
right.
runs into this chick who's supposed to hunt people like him, and she just keeps stabbing him with this sword that she made out of like blood, and he just won't die, and she's trying to attack him, and it's interesting because he seems like he has connections with everything, and I don't know, it was it's interesting, fantasy sort of fic.
I've actually thought about getting back into Watamode. If that's familiar to anyone.
I know that. Yeah, I know Watamode.
Yeah.
And there was another, and then there was Outbreak Company I watched, where it was just basically you take an otaku, and he's like the foremost otaku on everything, and they take him to a fantasy world as sort of a ambassador to these people of this fantasy world to teach them about the otaku culture.
Okay. Anime's fucking weird, dude.
It's weird, but I keep laughing because he has this like maid that's assigned to him, and she's got like elf ears, and he starts freaking out.
This kind of reminds me of this one show I read about, which was this guy who was really shy, but always was really good at dating sims. So he was summoned by Satan to use his charm to capture wandering souls that have escaped from hell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know that.
The world God only knows.
The world God knows. My
And
brother's a big fan of that.
And I remember just as I was reading that, I was like, what?
It's a very fun manga. Let's see.
I don't know. It's just that I always I never got into it because I always got like the fridge horror that like he's sending these people back to hell, and then I remember that these are people who deserved going to hell in the first place. But even so, Wait, is it necessarily hell, or is it just like going back to whatever spiritual world they're supposed to reside in?
I don't think they really fully go and explain everything. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Third anime I watched was Log Horizon, which is basically everybody's calling it a ripoff of Sword Art Online. It's basically, instead of the whole, we've got 10,000 players all trapped in a game where they kill each other. It's several 100,000 people across the world were just playing a computer game, and the next thing they know, they're inside it. Like, their faces are on their bodies or whatever, but, like, it's just, like, they're all of a sudden in the game, and they have no idea what the heck happened.
I feel really sorry for all the cross players.
Like, it's, there was one girl, actually, in the game, and she was actually, like, a guy. Her avatar was actually a guy. So she's like, do you have, so she tracks down, like, two of the main characters, and she's like, can I have that potion you got to change appearances? I need that badly. Yeah. And, it's more lighthearted than Sword Art Online. It's basically more humor than anything else. But I like the opening a lot. It's got a nice guitar to it, and I like guitars. So
it's good to hear that that's your main praise for. Like, I liked the opening, the part where it began. That's pretty good. Everything else shit though, but the opening,
In fairness, that was my comment about Sword Art Online as well. It opened very well, and then it was rubbish. So
it made me laugh a few times. It's not like I don't feel like it's trying to do anything awesome or new or groundbreaking, but it's It's got a good opening, and it made me laugh, so that's my review.
Can't complain about a fun show.
Yeah, I mean,
fun shows are fun.
I really don't have any problem with that. I mean, I find it funny that everyone kind of freaked out about Monsters University because it wasn't doing anything new, but it was still a good movie. So
yeah. Aside from those things, let's see. The only other thing I can think of off the top of my head is, well, Pokemon, and that's for another day.
That's another topic that's later on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're trying to set up segues here, and you're not helping by bringing them up early.
We have just come out from our X and Y bunker, and we have found the world in tarnish and decay.
Please stop talking, Ethan.
No.
Yeah, okay. So, Tristan, you're next up. What have you been doing?
Well, is it for a week?
Just in general. You can do it in general, you know.
Well,
we're just very boring people.
First, there was Rune Factory 4, which I've been looking forward to for a long time. It's actually a fun game, but very short. I managed to beat the main story. Got my first, what are those called? Credit roll, I guess? In a day. The day after I picked it up, I got the credit roll. And now there's like a side story that's longer. Oh, jeez.
Okay, so it's got like a massive post-game kind of thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to the short main game. Which makes no sense, if you ask me.
Yeah, I was about to say, why not just make all of the content for the first one?
I don't know. I mean, most of the content for Pokemon is technically post-game.
Well, I mean, it's just that I can understand having a game to go back to, but if you make someone beat the game and then, oh, hey, you got to play the game again, that's not very rewarding overall,
I guess.
It's more like it's an extra story after the main story is done. You rescued all the characters that you needed to rescue, and thus now have to
do other stuff.
Yeah, basically. You have to save the native dragon, as she's called, Ventuswill, from dying. And that's the main part of the entire first bit, too. Except this evil empire has stolen the gems that are needed in certain spots to keep her alive. And now they're using them to become monsters and use a specific type of magic. But,
so it's a kind of magic.
Yeah.
It's a kind of magic.
I don't know.
No, that's a Queen song.
I think you got the joke, but he was just ignoring it for the sake of not paying attention to the really bad joke, Ethan.
Yeah,
Terrible.
Kitty.
Okay, I've also been reading a lot. I've actually rated Casey's favorites list, and then from there I started reading more other stories that are in the same fandom, and in this particular case it was Harry Potter.
Okay.
I'm currently reading Death's Pride, and I've got a Magical Clan or something like that queued up, but haven't started reading it yet. What else? I read all of what's there for the, I think it was Winter Harmony or something like that pairing.
Yeah.
And it was the one that was on Casey's favorites list, first one as far as I know.
That'd be Death's Pride. Yeah.
If we're going into reading material, I want to add that I've started this high fantasy book called Mists of Avalon, which is very good.
Mm.
Yes.
It's kind of, one of the big people that critics can only live up to J.R.R. Tolkien besides Martin.
Okay.
And what else? Well, other than that, I've been playing Pokemon X and Y. Well,
We're not there yet.
But
Stop bringing it up.
I'm not going to talk about it because we're going to talk about it later.
Oh, all of us have brought it up at least once.
I'm not going to talk about it now because we're going to talk about it later.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've been visiting my little brother every once in a while. I try to do that like once a month at least.
Yeah.
We live in the same city, so...
You gotta feed him someday, so...
No, that's what his parents are there for. But I have to visit him at some point, too. During the month. This time I've visited him like twice. But... Oh well.
Right.
I've exhausted all my topic.
Oh, it's a shame.
Okay.
Alright, so what have I been doing this week?
Tristin, what have you been doing?
Tristin might recognize this title. I've been playing Infinite Space again this week.
Oh yes, that is an awesome game.
That is a great game.
I got him into it.
Yeah. It's, Platinum Games of Bayonetta fame.
Yeah.
And I think it's Nude Maker of Steel Battalion fame, as in the original. The one with the, massive control panel type controller, arcade cabinet type thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before they moved on to the Kinect for some reason.
Yeah, they joined forces to make a DS game that's, the plot of... It's very Star Wars-esque plot, but there's a lot of cool gameplay features, like you recruit your own crew, you purchase your own ships and, customize them to your own tastes and all that stuff. Explore the galaxy and all that fun stuff. It's a great fun game. And should be played, even if you've got strange background noise going on in the background that sounds vaguely like a vacuum cleaner.
Blender, to be specific.
Or dentist.
My mistake. Yeah, that too. It does sound kind of like a dentist joke, yes.
Thanks for reminding me that I'm gonna... Thanks for reminding me that I'm gonna get my wisdom teeth pulled in a couple of years.
Oh, sucks for you.
I already got mine pulled.
You lucky son of a bitch.
After they pulled them, I was so loopy because I was under everything, all the drugs, and I was like, take a picture of me. And they took a picture. And I looked at it.
I am the epitome of beauty.
I want to see what I look like without my teeth.
Just gonna warn you now, my Skype might crash soon. I'm getting a bit of, cutting out.
Okay.
Alright.
Just thought I'd let you know, so I'll
Don't worry,
join if it does.
We'll just remove your entire side of the conversation from the episode.
Yeah, we'll just pretend you were never there in the first place.
Yeah.
Why can't I rejoin?
Yeah. Alright,
Not allowed in our cool secret club.
And we're back to me. Focus on me. Me.
It's all about you, isn't it?
I'm the host. It's supposed to be. Also, I have not been playing Pokemon XY. I have instead been watching Pokemon Rob play Pokemon XY, because that's apparently how I get all of my Pokemon fix nowadays.
So you're like those three annoying kids that would always look over your shoulder whenever you brought your Game Boy to school.
Kind of, yeah. That's basically what watching any Let's Player is at this point. But, yeah, it's been an experience, I guess. I mean, this guy, I've talked about him before, he basically does, hardcore runs of Pokemon games, usually the really hard ones. So, whenever a Pokemon faints, it's dead, and he releases it. Up to, basically, yeah, only he does slightly different rules, because, like I said, he plays harder versions of the games, hacked versions, so you can't actually beat it if you do normal Nuzlocke rules. It just doesn't work. But, even by, standard Nuzlocke rules, he wouldn't have lost a Pokemon until the second gym at all. And even then, I watched it happen. I'm pretty sure it was faked to make the game seem more interesting. That game is ridiculously easy. I am not even kidding. In fact, perfect example. The first gym is a bug gym. You might recall from playing old Pokemon games that the first Pokemon that you get, generally speaking, flying types. You know, the ones that always have a super effective move against bug types.
Yeah.
Even further, in the first town that has a gym, there is a guy that will trade you the absolute bottom-of-the-barrel Pokemon that you get in this game. It's Bunnelby, I think it is. It's your Rattata Bidoof equivalent. He will trade that for a Farfetch'd that has Aerial Ace, which you can then use to one-shot every Pokemon in the first gym.
At level 10, though.
Look upon my form and tremble.
Basically,
Fear my Aerial Ace.
it's stupid. It's like there's no challenge at all anymore, and they're not even trying to put one in. It's like they're babyfying the series.
That's kind of how Nintendo seems to be looking from their games.
I know, and
in general.
that's bizarre to me, because it's like they're underestimating kids' intelligence. I mean, I remember playing original Red and Blue, and there was some challenge there, at least. I mean, kids aren't that stupid that they can't play a game unless you make it super duper easy for them.
Well, I mean, I didn't necessarily mean difficulty, more in the fact that Nintendo seems to be, like, diluting their games. Like, the experience is very plain.
I'll admit, they have added a load of stuff to the new games in XY. They've added all sorts of interesting fluff content to it.
Okay.
Which is great. Except that the main draw of the game, which is catching and battling Pokemon, is kind of rubbish because they made it super duper easy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I meant by my argument was that a good example would be Paper Mario Sticker Star. Look at Thousand Year Door and all the creativity, all of the interesting story and characters, and just the interesting gameplay elements that it introduces. And then look at Sticker Star and see how none of that is in that game.
Sticker Star makes me depressed. Thousand Year Door was like one of my favorite games. I played that through at least 4 times.
Yeah. The music was good, though.
It was, but Sticker Star, I couldn't even play past like this third. I couldn't even play through the third world of that game because I was just sick of it.
Yeah.
Because they destroyed every single RPG element of the whole fact that this was their Mario RPG after, the whole Super Mario RPG disappeared.
Well, I mean, which is funny because Paper Mario was never necessarily like a clenched teeth, balls to the wall, hard RPG to begin with.
Yeah, but you had the whole leveling up thing.
Yeah. And now none of that is there. There's no partners, there's no items, there's no strategy. It's just stickers.
It makes me so, you have so much potential for a series, and then you take away, in Super Paper Mario, they kind of took away the partners, but you still had those guys which had the handy abilities, which, at least made the game interesting.
Yeah.
And then they took that away and just like, hey, guess what? You have to put a sticker here, put a sticker here, put a sticker here, put a sticker here. It's just boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never liked Nintendo games, generally speaking. It's getting less difficult to ignore them.
Said the Sonic fan.
I was a Sonic fan back in the Genesis days. I'm not as much anymore. I don't really care either way. But Nintendo games are a bit boring now.
Yeah.
By Nintendo standards when you don't have the nostalgia to back it up.
Yeah. I mean, really, the Wii U only seems interesting to me because of some of the third-party stuff, like Wonderful 101 and such.
Bayonetta 2.
Yeah, that's another game that Platinum did as well, by the way.
Wonderful
101.
Yeah, Bayonetta 2 is definitely going to be a console pusher.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
I'm actually kind of curious how many people had to go buy a 3DS, like, they stood out for Pokemon X and then had to turn around and say, can I buy a 3DS?
No, they'd have been buying the 2DS instead.
Oh, there's that.
Which was Nintendo's smart move. Make a cheaper 3DS that plays 3DS games but doesn't have any 3D and has, no hinges or anything so the kids can't break them. And then everybody wants, oh, I want to just play Pokemon. Well, I can get you this 2DS, which is cheaper and doesn't break.
Yeah.
Now, don't ask me to be nice to you again.
Yeah. And as for, like, Nintendo diluting its games, I've been seeing that more and more, but my hope rests with that new Legend of Zelda Wii U they've been talking about for, like, years. They're, like, saying this thing's gonna destroy every single thing that you think is awesome and show you what is
You
truly
think you
awesome.
know Zelda? You don't know Zelda.
You don't know Zelda until this
I think everyone knows Zelda pretty damn well at this point.
You think you do, but you're wrong.
They're changing up the formula.
I feel like I'm turning into Hulk Hogan.
I'll believe it when I see it. Thank you very much.
Listen to this, Link brother.
Well, in the new Legend of Zelda, A Link Between Worlds, they're introducing the idea of you get to play through any of the dungeons in whatever order you want. Which already is, changing up the formula a little bit, but they're like, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Wait, you mean in whatever order?
In whatever order you want, except
That's
for, like,
not
the
a good
final
thing. That means there's no progression. That means everything's going to be the same difficulty all the way through.
Not exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what Prince of Persia did, the 2008 one that was rubbish because there was no progression, because there was no difficulty curve.
Well, the original Zelda was like that. You could take on the dungeons in any order you wished, so as long as you could find them. Yeah,
but this was in the day when there was, like, no guides or anything, and that was the difficulty. You had to figure everything out for yourself.
Who says they don't want you to do that with this Zelda? Maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to bring back the original feel and...
Which is literally impossible when the internet exists.
Well, those are the people who always ruin the fun. Like, it's the kid who came home with the magazine of Nintendo Power.
So, I've still got hopes. I've still got hopes for Nintendo. I feel like, it's not like they're like... Okay, mysterious noise. It's... Even though they are, they have been simplifying a good portion of their games, I still, like, for Pokemon, I feel like there could be, harder post-game content. There's still the competitive scene, which exists, which is going to be changed up, I think, substantially by some of the new Pokemon they're introducing. I don't know about some of the other games they're coming out with, but I've always, I'm looking forward to them. Even though they might be simplified or easy, I'm still looking forward to these games because they do look like they're going to be fun.
I still don't know what next console I'm going to end up getting. Because I still don't feel there's anything that has come out yet that has made me lean towards one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up on Nintendo, so, I started out with a Wii U.
I mean, I kind of want
that nostalgia, just like always.
I want a Wii U as well, but there's some stuff coming up with the PS4 that also seems kind of interesting.
I'm just getting the Wii U and like an Xbox One or PS4. I'm getting 2 next-gen consoles.
Yeah. I'll probably end up asking for one from the relatives and end up saving for the other one.
Yeah.
Alright, shall we move on to the third topic? Basically, I'm just not that interested in XY, and I'll be waiting until they come up with a hack. A la Blaze Black or Spirit Gold or whatever. Those were good games. Vanilla just doesn't do it for me anymore. So we'll move on to the third topic. Let's play.
Yeah, I kind of brought this up because I kind of wanted to address YouTube Let's Plays.
Yeah.
And what do I mean by that? Allow me to point to two major examples when I mean that. Tobuscus and PewDiePie.
I don't even watch Pewdie.
Yeah. And what do I mean? What do I mean?
If you want, but...
I could not care for either of those if I tried.
They both suck.
Yeah, but I don't care. Other people like them, I guess. But what do I mean by those two? I mean, they're kind of
lame.
Yeah, and they're also kind of oversaturating the market because everyone wants to try and be like them.
Not everyone, but yeah, well, I see your point.
The most subscribed channel on YouTube is a Let's Player, PewDiePie.
Wow, he actually managed to topple Fred off that throne.
I think Fred's been toppled for a long time.
Yeah, he hasn't been relevant since, 2004?
Yeah. You know, I personally one of my favorite Let's Play sort of groups is Two Best Friends Play.
Yeah,
I've seen some of their work. It was I say work. It was
because they
really
right.
Don't watch their machinima content. Watch their channel because they're much more laid back and very expressive, and it's very good.
They really know what they're talking about, you know?
Yeah.
Like they know they've been around long enough so that they know a lot of like the industry and everything. So when they're talking, you can.
They even hint that they might have worked at it for a while.
I think one was Matt was like a play tester, you know, like, and they've kind of you know worked in these sort of like environments, and so you have that knowledge that you know some of the higher up ones like PewDiePie and Tobuscus don't have because these people are more involved with the industry.
Well, I mean, I wasn't really going for that. I was more just going that. Look at how many videos Tobuscus and PewDiePie put out each day. They put out like 10 or like I think there was one guy who put out like 20. How are you supposed to keep up with that? I mean,
in fairness, those guys admittedly work incredibly hard. I mean, take for example Tobuscus. He does work a day job, if you want to call it that. He's like that guy from Annoying Orange on Cartoon Network, right?
Oh, he really has his cred.
He does that, and he does his like main channel stuff. So he does those animated shorts. He does the lyrics videos,
literal trailers. He does that's manages three channels as well as having the job, and
that's a hell of a lot of work to do. And I don't know whether he even gets any downtime or anything, just doing all of that all the time.
Well, I mean, I'm not really talking about that. I'm talking about his Let's Play stuff. Let's keep it to the Let's Play stuff.
Admittedly, okay.
And, I mean, you know, I have no offense with these kind of guys. I have no problem with them at all. But, like, they just don't try when they're doing Let's Plays. They're just like, okay, I'll make this, here's, like, 10 videos. I won't look over any of them and see if I should maybe do a retake or just maybe try again.
A little bit. Just try and cut out the pointless bits and stuff like that.
No, it's just them acting stupid in front of a mic and camera.
Yeah.
And that's not actually a Let's Play. That's a playthrough.
Yeah. And let me give a good example of what I think is a good Let's Play. Has anyone here ever heard of, like, Chip Cheesem?
Nope.
No.
Oh. Well, he is this Something Awful affiliated Let's Player, and he basically, when he finds a game he wants to Let's Play, what he'll do is he'll take a month to learn the game inside out. Like, a good example of this, watch his Metal Gear Rising Revengeance Let's Play. It's fantastic. Like, not only does he completely destroy the game with his playing, but he'll also do retakes of certain matches to show you how you might have played it in a different way.
Okay, so that sounds more like a guide than... It depends on what you're looking for in a Let's Play. If you're looking for, like, guides and, hey, this is how to play this game perfectly and all that stuff, then that kind of thing might be more interesting. But if you want entertainment value, then I'd say be looking more towards something like Achievement Hunters Let's Plays.
Well,
where they do a lot of competitive stuff.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't really consider those guys a Let's Play in the sense, because when I think of Let's Play, I tend to think of someone who's able to balance information about the game and being funny and just observant about the game at the same time.
That's not a Let's Play, that's a guide.
Well, it just kind of... It depends on what you think of a Let's Play as well.
Yeah, it's defined in many different terms, I guess. One of my...
What we're trying to say is Let's Play is high art.
It is. One of the more, I guess, quote-unquote, truer Let's Players, I guess, I've come across is Chugga Conroy. Any of you guys ever hear of him?
You mean like only one of the biggest YouTube Let's Players? Oh, yeah, I don't know. He's kind of gone over my head.
I have.
Yeah.
I don't really like him personally, but I do like Proton John. So
they have the whole like channel together with the Runaway Guys.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like that kind of very energetic, screechy kind of Let's Player. I like the more laid back. Oh, this is just something funny. Let's point and laugh at it.
Yeah, I switch back and forth between Let's Players. So,
Achievement Hunter are consistently funny and entertaining, and everyone should watch them. That's my 2 cents on the subject.
Now, if you excuse me, I'm off to go pick up my Achievement Hunter checks from the mail.
I think we're
That'd
just
be nice.
plugging
I fucking
everyone
frame
in
that shit, dude.
This topic. We're just plugging everyone in this topic. I think we should just move on.
If I got anything signed by Jeff Ramsey, I'd be pretty fucking stoked.
Okay.
His beard. He just mails his beard.
Oh God.
If it was a beard, I'd want Jack's. Kidding me?
That thing would keep you warm. Like, during the winter, just pull that out and snuggle with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you, Tristan? What do you have to say about Let's Plays?
Well, I like watching videos from The Creatures, Sly Foxhound, Immortal HD, and whoever the hell Sly plays with. I hardly ever watch Let's Players like Tobuscus or PewDiePie or Sky. My little brother likes Sky. Every time I say gold,
Here's one I forgot to bring up, but I personally can't stand. Like, there's very few people I will say I just can't tolerate. Like, I'll let someone sit on the wayside and like them. But this guy I just can't stand. And that's Darkside Phil.
Oh. Never heard of
Dead silence, because I don't think anyone recognizes that name.
I just want you to I just want you to, after this, look up his Metal Gear Solid 2 Let's Play.
Alright. I'll have to do that for the link dump then.
It's atrocious.
Okay.
Anyways.
Yeah.
In fairness, Metal Gear Solid 2, also kind of atrocious.
Yeah, but he blames everything he does wrong on the game.
Okay.
Can I finish what I was saying, though?
Yeah, sure. Sorry.
Okay.
I just kind of...
Every time I say gold in Minecraft, my little brother corrects me and says it's butter. And I'm like, no, it's gold. I'm a traditional Minecraft player. Yeah. That's all I wanted to say. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like, I don't think you got the weight of Casey's. Allow me.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait.
So...
Do you do it too, King Zero? Oh. Okay.
Zero?
Hello? Are you there, dude?
Hello?
I'm done.
Okay.
I'm done with this. Let's go on.
Okay.
Go on without me.
Alright, what's our next subject, Casey?
According to the chat, Zero was done with Minecraft when he built his flying castle, so...
That's all I needed, and then I'm done.
Yeah, admittedly, I also built a sky castle at one point.
I built Laputa, so...
Though my sky castle had a glass staircase going up to it, so... That was nice.
Mine had multiple floors, but, yeah.
Like I said, I kind of built Laputa, so... There.
I don't know what that is. Don't bother telling me.
Awesome.
Next topic is Attack on Titan, as fucking always, because we can't shut up about this show.
Because it's so good.
Alright, I think we've gotten everyone but Tristan's opinion on Attack on Titan, which is why the topic's on the list again today for the most part. So, Tristan, let's hear your dissenting opinion, shall we?
Well, I like the later episodes after about 8, when they finally stopped being fucking pussies. Seriously. Every single episode, there was a lot of, like, fear and stuff. I don't like that. It just doesn't sit right.
Oh, we have a lot to talk about. Yeah. In case you didn't notice, that was kind of there to, A, set up how imposing Titans are and how this is humanity's last stand against them, and B, how ill-prepared everyone was after they built the walls.
100 years, no one had actually seen a Titan except for the recon force.
They're just like, oh, we'll build a wall and then we'll be safe forever.
Yeah, I know.
But
Yeah.
the thing is I'm used to reactions like in Negima, where everything is supernatural sort of thing. Or,
Yeah, you...
What, you mean the big, giant 20-foot monsters? Yeah, that's totally normal.
Yeah, I guess you can get to the shonen general archetype of, oh, there's this big monster, let's go fight it so we can save everyone kind of mindset, and you get stuck in that, and anything else just seems weird from that point on.
That's basically what happened with me. I got used to seeing abnormal reactions to abnormal things. Like, they're used to seeing fantastic things happening all the time, thus got used to seeing that. So, I don't know.
Well, these are kind of normal people who haven't.
Yeah, that's pretty much the point I was trying to make when he was talking to me this, like, a few days ago. And it's like, yeah, there's the hero characters that you usually get in shonen, and then there's regular people, and this is a show that's all about the regular people, and there's like 5, maybe, hero characters. And they tend to die anyway.
Well, I mean, let's see here. Who's some pretty strong characters that would be considered like shonen heroes? Levi, maybe?
Eren.
Eren.
Eren, definitely.
Mikasa?
Yeah.
Yep. And the captain guy from the Recon Force.
Erwin?
Sure, that's his name.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, everyone else freaks the fuck out with good reason.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's another thing. Have you guys seen the Attack on Titan tribute game yet?
I did. I saw Two Best Friends.
I was literally about to bring this
Two Best
up.
Friends.
Oh, that game is hard as fuck.
I haven't played it yet, but it does look kind of cool.
It is pretty cool, but it's hard as fuck.
Well, I mean, it's kind of basically showing you how you would work if you were in the Attack on Titan universe.
Yeah, you would die pretty damn fucking quick.
Yeah, I was about to say, which is, you die.
Yeah, oh god. You just keep getting stomped, generally speaking. Unless you get on a building and then you get eaten instead.
Maybe that's what we should do if we ever start like doing streams, like an online match of us doing
Attack on Titan?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also the game that's coming out on the 3DS.
Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing if it comes out in English. Like, in North America,
Europe delays.
I'm honestly going to say this. I will give it a shot if they can get the 3D maneuver gear right.
Well, it is the 3DS.
Yeah. No, well, I mean,
it's tailor-made.
Well, I mean, the feel of rocketing around the cities with the maneuver gear. Because if they don't get that right, no one's going to play it.
I'm laughing way too hard at that.
That's horrible fun.
I just tried to ignore it because I found it too stupid. Like, even for my standards, that was pretty fucking stupid, dude.
Oh, the 3DS.
And I just made a Queen joke.
Because it's 3D and it's 3DS.
Not for long, dude. You have to realize that. Not for long.
I'm funny.
We're not funny. Don't you ever make yourself think you are funny. Don't you ever try to hide the fact that you aren't.
Okay.
I think what he's trying to say, Casey, is that your day job, as a stand-up comedian, you might want to quit it.
Okay, moving on.
Let's move on to that tormented wannabe film director known as David Cage.
Oh, boy.
Never heard of him.
He's a prick.
Yeah.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair. I take that back. I'm sorry.
He's French.
Yeah, he's a French prick.
Yeah.
So English. I'm English. Forgive me. So, yeah.
Why do I want to bring up David Cage specifically? I've kind of been watching some guys playing through Indigo Prophecy, and I'd kind of forgotten how fucking stupid it was.
Yeah.
I like the chorus, like, yeah, we all know what you're going through. But I find it...
Planes!
Planes. Airplanes.
The plane.
Yeah. And now we're in the submarine, apparently. Ooh.
And anyway,
what are we talking about? Yeah, Indigo Prophecy. Yeah.
I find it funny because I find David Cage games entertaining, but for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. I think Mike from the
at.
Internet Box put it best by saying, in order to do anything in that game, you have to know how to shred, like Guitar Hero style shred, because you got
Yeah. Or just be really good at Simon.
Yeah.
I have to admit, that Indigo Prophecy is one of the few games that has had me on the floor because I've been laughing so hard. And the scenes that did it were Kung Fu action Matrix scenes.
Oh, yeah.
I love those. Just out of nowhere, he starts flipping through the air.
Yeah.
And then they start bringing up plot points that had never been introduced beforehand.
Yeah, apparently, yeah, psychic and all that bollocks.
Yeah, and...
Somehow.
Yeah. Aliens.
I don't remember aliens, but I might have just blocked that out.
Oh.
For the sake of my sanity.
And then we go on to Heavy Rain, which everyone makes fun of just for its user interface and the really bad acting.
I'll give it credit. The user interface was a little bit better than in Indigo Prophecy. It made a little bit more sense.
It was still kind of stupid, though.
But you didn't have to shred anymore, which was a plus.
No, you just had to be able to hold down buttons.
Contortion his fingers and all that.
Yeah. I will admit, there was one scene that I thought was pretty cool for Heavy Rain, and that was the finger scene.
Oh, yeah. It's past spoiler time, so yeah. The cutting off the finger thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the one scene I thought was very well executed. Or at least well executed.
He just said that.
No, he said very.
Yeah.
First time. That's the difference.
Yeah. And now we're on to Beyond Two Souls, which is kind of getting a general chorus of meh.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not even interested in playing that game in the first place, so the fact that it's getting middling reviews affects me not a jot, but I don't know.
That's probably just one of the games I'm going to find someone who's doing a playthrough of it and see what they have to say on it.
Yeah, just watch a Let's Play.
Anyway, I mean, I wonder if David Cage would be better if he just started directing, like, maybe a TV show or something like that.
Something without interaction.
Yeah. Or at least to let someone help him.
Yeah.
An actual game designer, you mean?
Well, I meant also a writer.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice. He would need one of those. If he was going to do a TV show.
He needs a lot of things, really.
Sanity.
Coherence.
Not included.
Not to be French.
Consistence.
Grounding.
Not to be French.
What is it with you and the French?
I'm English. Maybe we should move on. All right, so
Okay.
let's call the talk about David Cage to a close because that
Unprofessional.
There's not much we need to say about David Cage that anyone else has already said. I mean, he's a dude. He has very little talent in making games.
His games are very silly, though, and I would highly recommend just checking them out for the laugh.
And he has marginally more talent writing stories.
Not really.
No, he is slightly better at making stories because he is that terrible at making games.
Okay. So let's
Doors!
let's go to the next topic then.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one's yours, Zero.
Okay, so now we actually get to writing. Setting establishment versus action. The whole idea of how much you should establish your setting versus how much action you should include.
Oh my god, who is futzing with their mic?
Not me.
Looks like it's Ethan.
I'm trying to type something on Skype. I didn't realize my mic was that sensitive.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, setting establishment versus action, the whole, getting that sort of balance that you need for your scenes in establishing the setting and, going forward with the action so as to not bore the reader or confuse them.
Okay.
So, anybody want to, comment on this?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean,
I suck at it.
Heavy Rain's a good example of that, just to beat on David Cage a little more.
Oh god damn it.
Like, just not necessarily a good example, just a good example of a bad version of this, where it's like you have to sit around and wait for exposition or action to happen to you, not to cause it.
Not quite the same thing. This is a writing thing. As in writing, like, novelization, rather than... I mean, setting the scene as in describing the scene, what's going on in this room, who's here, how's it decorated, that kind of thing. That's what he means by setting and all that stuff versus things that are actually happening.
Okay.
Personally,
so how much time do you spend setting things up, and how much time do you spend on payoff? And whether you spend too much on one or the other.
Usually, I kind of do a sort of ripple effect, whereas as the character is interacting with things in the room, you kind of get an idea of what he's doing and what the room looks like.
Personally, I like to, whenever I'm switching to another scene, I open with, most of the time I'll usually open with the action and then sort of clue them into the setting as I'm going through that.
Okay.
You know, just to, first of all, get the action to call attention, who's in there, who's in that scene, and then I can broaden it out. Like, you're starting on a close-up, and then you get, farther and farther.
Okay. So, Tristan, you want to say something?
Yeah. I've actually said it before, show. There's actually a few people on fanfiction.net who have a tendency to make, 5 to 6K word fight scenes, which to me is just pushing on the limits, to be honest. Nobody needs a fight scene that's that long.
Well, it depends on what you're writing.
Yeah, but this person.
So your complaint is that it's spending way too much time on the action and then not getting a resolution quickly enough. It's just kind of drawing things out far too long, is your complaint, yes?
Yeah. Not enough story time and more time for fights instead of the actual story.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, I'd like fight scenes if they're a little bit long, but not that long. That's
well,
just
if done right,
a whole chapter of fighting.
Well, if done right, that 5,000 words of fighting could also be used for setting establishment, story development. You can actually manage to fit those things in fight scenes. That's why you'll see a lot of times people will talk while they fight, or other things. And you can also split up that fight scene and have maybe a scene in between that, and then go back to it.
Yeah, and you can also, we talked about motivation as well, briefly last week, about how, I think Zero mentioned you should always think about your character's motivations and why they're doing what they're doing so that you can determine how they will do things. So you could constantly be looking inside of characters' minds while they're fighting so they know why they're still fighting, why they aren't retreating, why they might think about retreating, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which can be interesting on its own as well. It's how you... action is one thing, just having action on its own is boring. I'll grant you that. It's just boring, just action, action, action. But when you actually space it out with bits of characterization, maybe exposition, if you really feel like pushing things. I mean, I'm not a fan of the talking is a free action kind of story.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got to be careful about when your characters speak during fights, because then you might get Bond villain levels of talking.
Yeah, let me outline my master plan kind of thing. Yeah.
We're not so different, you and I.
Just short little exchanges as they cross swords type of thing.
Yeah, that can be fun.
Like banter, back and forth.
Yeah. It establishes character a little bit.
Fun. Yeah.
And relationships.
Also, in certain anime, I've kind of noticed that they'll tend to drop exposition after they've had something rammed through their stomach.
I still hate that, by the way.
Yeah, like in Soul Eater, when Stein just punches and probably cracks through 3 ribs, and Medusa's just like, oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, so this is how your technique works.
Smug, 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 smug.
Sounds to me like Orochimaru. Oh, God.
Yeah.
That guy is really creepy.
Waste of a decent villain, though.
Yeah, but there's been too many people who have been calling him a pedo. I can see it, but he's not actually a pedo.
It's the easy joke, and a lot of people will just go for the easy joke.
Yeah. And I mean, to go against my own criticism, I feel that you can have the oh, hey, I just survived a fatal attack, I'll still talk. I feel that can be done well if it's allowed within the capabilities of the villain or the characters in general.
Yeah.
Mm.
Otherwise, it just is really poorly done.
Mm. Comes off a bit hokey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, shall we move on to the next topic?
Sure.
Or have we got a little bit more to say?
I can't think of anything.
I just want to add that one of the problems that I see is not just too much action, it's rather a lack of action. And that's something that can be the bane of most writers, that you're so focused on setting up the scene and everything that's happening that you kind of forget people are there.
Mm.
Well, I mean, that's kind of a problem with writing in general, is you'll focus too much on a certain thing that you like personally, that you forget to branch out to everyone else and help build the story.
So, just a little bit of advice there. You have to find a balance.
Yeah, admittedly, I have problems with this very issue because I put almost no effort in setting the scene and just get on with, like, plot or action, depending on the point in the story. It's a flaw. I need to work on it. But yeah, balance is important. I don't have it.
It really also depends on the scene and what you're going for in that particular scene, because some scenes can be completely, like, say, dialogue or completely, like, action in some scenes, but, it's all about knowing when to use that and, how to use it.
Yeah. Admittedly, sometimes you don't need to know what color the drapes are, for example.
Mm-hmm.
That's not innuendo, by the way.
You also don't have to dedicate 5 paragraphs to describing how your awesome, cool character looks.
That too. That can be irritating. Yeah, maybe 1.
Maybe
2 if you really want to push it, but yeah. So, survival horror? Survival horror, right.
Why does this topic remind me of Fragile Dreams?
I don't know what that is, so I don't know.
I wanted to bring this up because I feel in survival horror there's certain games that everyone kind of associates it with, and no one feels to branch out and kind of bring to light the more obscure ones.
Like Resident Evil, where they for the big ones,
Resident Evil, Silent Hill,
Amnesia.
Amnesia, Slender Man, if you're pushing it.
That's fair, cop, for being a survival horror game. That's fair.
Yeah, but but people kind of tend to suckle at those teats and kind of forget to look away at anything else that might be a little more interesting.
Thank you for the wonderful imagery of someone suckling on Slenderman's teats.
I hope someone draws that now. So I can show it
you don't. No.
So I can show it to you and disgust you.
Someone probably already has drawn that, by the way.
Searching it now.
Deviant.
Oh, God, you are. We are horrible people, and we revel in this fact.
Speak for yourself.
Anyway,
Zero. Let's move on.
Anyway, is there any games that anyone would like to bring up, like any interesting survival horror games they've come across?
Not really. I don't really play survival horror anymore as much.
I don't play them, period.
I played the ones way back. That was about it.
When I think of survival horror games, one of the games I have played, not necessarily recently, but Dead Space.
Iffy on whether that's survival horror or not.
It is iffy, but it really...
Are you talking about the first one or just in a series?
Like, more so, the series, I guess. You can see it kind of diverging a little more and more away from that survival horror aspect.
It reminds me of Evil Dead. It reminds me of Evil Dead. You've got Evil Dead 1, which is straight up horror, Evil Dead 2, which kind of goes into the comedy, and then Army of Darkness, which is more of an action.
Yeah.
Supernatural action movie.
That kind of is what it turned into. And I feel that any good survival horror game, what it does is it establishes that you are outmatched and you don't have enough ammunition. You have to run. And that's what it should be, emphasizing more than anything, is that whole idea of you're helpless against this evil.
My main problem with it is that the villain has a face.
Yeah.
And I feel that in a good survival horror game, or at least the majority of the ones, to make it scary, there's just something that is inexplicable. It's just mythological and legendary in its nature, and it just makes you're just scared because you don't know. And we kind of get a certain satisfaction in having knowledge about something. It makes things better.
Mm-hmm. Taking advantage of that fear of the unknown that all people seem to have.
Yeah.
And I think one of the reasons...
which is why Silent Hill is so good.
Yeah.
What?
Silent Hill. Oh. Who?
I think one of the reasons why, you've got... I think Slender is scary because he's a faceless person. But, not necessarily... and because you don't really see him until it's too late. And when you do see him, it's from far away.
Yeah.
That whole idea of the enemies not running up at you trying to strike you, but they're going to come and get you. And that sort of paranoid fear where you have to look over your shoulder every 2 steps. That's what makes survival horror games... That really adds the horror aspect, because it's not a game where you're like, oh, I'm just waltzing around. No, you're sneaking around every corner.
More like tentatively stepping by cautiously peering around that corner.
And then when you see him, you run.
Yeah.
You just take off running.
Not necessarily a game, but a movie, but The Thing from 1980, from the 80s, was very good at this.
Mm. Yeah, The Thing was pretty... it did pretty well, actually.
Yeah. Because you had no idea who it could be.
Mm-hmm. And that paranoia is what survival horror games kind of capitalize on, as in, I don't have enough ammo, I have barely any healing items, and any step I could take could be my last.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
And I have no idea what I'm doing, and what I'm fighting, and how to stop it.
Tell you what could be a good survival horror, or what I think does survival horror well. XCOM.
That's not necessarily the kind of survival horror that
it is survival, it is horror.
How is it horror?
Because any of your soldiers could die at any second, and you would have no idea when or where or why.
That's not really horror, though. That's more just anxiety. That's just kind of a paranoia.
You just talked about how paranoia leads to fear.
But horror games are more kind of about
Horror games are about something other than fear, you're saying?
Well, it's more of like, it's also about the character as well. It's about how he interacts with all this freaky deaky shit.
Who says?
Let's see here, Silent Hill 2.
Okay, you're going to list a list of horror games. So,
well,
what about them excludes XCOM or any other game that still has all of the tenets that you've listed so far?
Because the fear isn't
from
the
being
focus.
A survival horror game.
It's not the focus. That's what a survival horror game is. It's the focus of the game.
So?
What do you mean, so?
Well, just because... What's the difference between a survival horror game where you're one dude walking through a city and there's things trying to kill you, and you have very limited resources? What's the difference between that and a group of soldiers that are well trained, but also have limited resources and are completely outmatched, walking through a situation that they have no idea of, they have no idea what the enemy's capable of, they have no idea what weapons they have, where they could be, any of this stuff? What's the difference? Other than the fact that they're trained, maybe.
The gameplay. It's very different, because when you're playing a survival horror game, you are controlling one person. You are with that person, and you're trying desperately to make sure that they live, and that
you're trying desperately to make sure that your soldiers live.
Yes, but that's from a distance. That's as their commander, not as them personally.
You're saying that you wouldn't get attached to your soldiers?
Because they're faceless drones that you can back row practically daily.
they're faceless drones that you may, for example, if you've kept them alive through several missions, have built and spec'd out so that they're ideal, so that you've grown attached to them, maybe you've named them, maybe that you've designed their uniform.
Yeah, well, that's more of a statistic necessity because they have the best weapons. They are the most fit for survival. So when they die, it's not necessarily a feeling of loss so much as a feeling...
You have never played an XCOM game this way, have you? You've safe-scummed your way through the whole thing.
I haven't played XCOM.
There you go, then. You play it, you get back to me. It's fucking survival horror.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about how it's not a survival horror game.
And I'm saying it is, but you can't refute me without actually playing it first.
All right. Have you played Silent Hill 2?
Of course I played Silent Hill 2. Are you kidding me?
All right, just making sure. Zero, you got anything to say on this?
Well, personally, I've never played XCOM, and I've only really watched an LP of Silent Hill 2. So the only thing I can really say is that the horror games that I've played, that I've seen that are good, they're not necessarily about just paranoia or just this or that. The best ones, what they do is they capitalize on the base human fears that we all have, and things such as paranoia, fear of the unknown, even fear of the dark, and fear of being outmatched. You're just outmatched by something you know that you possibly can't stand against. And capitalizing on that fear that, that's more base human instinct is what good survival horror games do. Like, for example, I'm just going to mention Slender Man again, because it does that very well. And, I searched up Slender Man, and I recently found a picture of the Hitman, what is it? The Hitman
Angel.
Absolution picture, cover art, but without his face on. So it looks like Slender Man.
Hmm. Is this before or after you were trying to find some creepy porn of Slender Man for our show?
I couldn't find that. I did find Slender Man hugging people, but that's about it.
Also, I would like to point out that sounded a hell of a lot like he was agreeing with me. Just throwing that out there.
Whatever. It was still a good argument, though, either way.
Fun times.
Yeah. Anyway, Casey, you have a question for us.
I do. We have a question. We have verifiable proof that we actually have people listening to this podcast, go figure.
At least one person has seen one episode.
Yeah.
Bravo.
This person messaged me through fanfiction.net. Fellow by the name of Ghost132435. Well done, sir. It's a lot of numbers in that name. Nah. To paraphrase, it's basically rate the Big Shonen 4. Fairy Tail, Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. Rank them. Say what's good and bad about all of them.
I'm probably going to have to step back a little bit because I only liked One Piece.
I know all of them, so...
Same.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Okay. So, Bleach, Naruto, One Piece, Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail was really kind of just getting in there. Like, it's not that popular in Japan, but it's getting popular in the US, so it's kind of barely getting in there.
Which is unfortunate because it's really getting crap recently.
Yeah.
To the point where I stopped reading it.
I haven't been reading any of the past 30 chapters.
Yeah, I think I've missed like 10, 15, I guess.
And I just didn't read it because it didn't interest me, because I don't read a lot of Shonen Jump. I tend to kind of find the more obscure stuff.
Not sure Fairy Tail is Shonen Jump, but yeah, okay, your point is made.
It's a really, I have a story that is a Fairy Tail crossover, so I do like a lot of the characters, and I like a lot of the things they do. It is a good, the anime and everything, it's good. Would I rate it above, say, One Piece? I don't know, because I really like One Piece. I started watching One Piece when I was a kid, because it's been out for so long.
Fairy Tail, I guess, it has some good points I get. I mean, the art is very nice. I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's got a very good look to it. The anime at least is very, very colourful, which I love. I love colourful things because I don't know. I just like them.
It reminds me a lot of Rave Master, the art style.
It's the same old.
Because it's by the same person.
Okay. Well, like I said before, I don't have very intimate knowledge of it, so.
Yeah, it's nice to look at. The characters are nicely designed, I guess. As characters, they're not great. They're kind of two-dimensional.
A lot of shonen anime characters are kind of like that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is a problem. We'll talk about that in a bit when we talk about the other ones.
Yeah.
But
which is another reason I don't really follow very, popular shonen anime.
Yeah, the biggest problem I have with Fairy Tail is the relationships are very shallow. As in, nakama. And that's about it. And when it's not that, it gets creepy. I'm going to give you the most defining example of this. I have to bring this up. The one time that shonen gets anywhere even close to actual pairings between characters, and it's between a girl that's kind of a side character in the Fairy Tail Guild getting with the guy that beat the living shit out of her the first time he met her.
Ray and Juvia.
That's not what I was talking about, Tristan. I was talking about the Levi and Gachil.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's fucking disturbing.
Oh, yeah, that is.
For background, Ethan, I'm going to give you the background. War between guilds kind of thing. She's in one guild, he's in another one. He decides that he's going to taunt this guild by attacking these three people, one of them being Levi, and he beats the shit out of all of them, then hangs them on a tree in the middle of a courtyard in the early morning, and it's not entirely made clear whether it's a tattoo or a brand or just painted on, but he paints his own guild marker on her stomach. So, in short, this guy beat the shit out of and subsequently humiliated this girl, and she is now apparently in love with him, somehow. They have written a Stockholm Syndrome relationship.
Ew.
I think there's a reason why my Fairy Tail crossover doesn't really take itself too seriously. You know, it doesn't.
If you think about it, it gets really disturbing somehow.
If you don't think about it, it gets disturbing. Just looking at it from a skin deep, just observational level, it's still not all there.
That's probably one of the things I'll have to change then in my fic.
Anyway, I had to rant about that when I thought about it when I read this question. That needed bringing up. That's really fucking wrong.
It is.
But yeah, that's my biggest problem with Fairy Tail. The relationships are completely stupid and short-sighted and barely there when they exist. I like characterization. It's the most important thing for me in a story, and if it's not there, then I stop being interested. So there it goes.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. There's also, Bleach, which... Has anybody been keeping up with that?
I have.
Yeah. I haven't. I stopped after it, so.
I feel like Bleach has a major case of, this is the main character, look at him now. He's part this, part this, part this, part this, part this, part this.
Yep. Ichigo is now part Hollow, part Soul Reaper, part Quincy, part Hell Demon or whatever, if you watch the film about Hell or something.
I don't even think he's technically human anymore.
Oh yeah, and he's supposed to be part human as well. I forgot about that bit. Somehow I forgot about that bit human. When it was getting all the superpowers.
They said, oh wait, he's supposed to be human. But they gave him Fullbringer powers, and Fullbringer powers are like, oh, that's what you get for being
and
human.
He's part Fullbringer. I forgot about that too.
Yeah. Part Hollow, Visor, human, Fullbringer, everything. Quincy, Shinigami. It's just...
Christ.
Then you get the whole, little I guess I can tag this a little bit as a spoiler, but actually I think we already said it, but his mom is, not human. So technically that Fullbringer power he got from being human shouldn't technically exist. So there's a plot hole right there.
Yeah. Also, you know what?
Actually,
fuck spoilers for Bleach. No one really cares about Bleach at this point. But
only person I care about that is Kenpachi Zaraki. I want to see his Bankai.
And Tight Kubo.
Yep.
Yeah, he probably cares too, admittedly. But most recent chapter of Bleach, apparently the Quincy's are allergic to hollows. That's the way I'm interpreting that. That was funny to read.
You want to go fight some hollows? Take your lotion, your ointment, and your inhaler.
Wait, didn't you say Ichigo is both part Quincy and hollow?
Yeah, so...
He's allergic to himself.
Yeah, I was about to say, wouldn't that technically make him, chemically freak out?
God damn it, that makes even less sense now. Fucking hell.
It explains his orange hair, somehow.
Sure, why not?
What? Yes.
Magic!
Did he get his orange hair from his mother?
Oh yeah, she was ginger, wasn't she?
But then where did his sister's hair come from? The one, the brown-haired one.
I don't know.
What about his dad?
Black and
his
orange.
dad has black hair.
Maybe she cheated on him?
With genetics...
That actually explains it. She cheated on him, and that's why she can't see ghosts.
Well, I was about to say, with genetics, it's not necessarily just two different things are possible. There's a lot of things that are possible.
Yeah, but I don't want to get into recessive genes right now.
Yeah.
I just want to say something about the Fullbringer thing. They explained it as whoever's been attacked by a hollow when they were young, they got the power from that.
Yeah, but they also really kind of mainly set it up as a human thing.
Yeah.
If it was true that it was just anybody who got attacked by a hollow when they were younger,
then pretty much all of the Quincy's would have been as well.
Yeah. So,
whatever.
Okay.
Bleach, I'll give 1+ for Bleach, and it's the exact thing that I negged on Fairy Tail for. It does have decent characterization.
So, what's our stand so far? Is it Bleach Fairy Tail or Fairy Tail Bleach?
We'll think about ranking them maybe when we're done. I don't think we could rank them. They've got different things that they've got going for them.
Okay. Next thing, let's go on to let's save Naruto for last and go on to One Piece.
All right, One Piece.
I'll have absolutely nothing to say when we get to Naruto, though.
Fair enough.
About One Piece now. I haven't been keeping up on it.
I've been liking the recent chapters.
I gave up on it not long after the time skip. I think I gave up in the Mermaid arc, or whatever they're calling it.
I'm still fairly early into the show, or just into the material.
I've been keeping up with it, so I like One Piece. It's a good show. It's not it does have its serious parts. You do have Luffy goes through that whole thing priest time skip with his brother.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
it does, and it does characterization well in my opinion.
It
from what I've
does.
seen.
As far as it goes for it, at least. It doesn't get too heavy into characterization, but it's there.
It doesn't go too heavy, because it's a very lighthearted show, It's very, it's shonen, but it's lighthearted. And I think if I were to rank it, I'd probably... Actually, I don't know where I would rank this one. I'd probably put it above Bleach, for me, personally.
I think you can put most things above Bleach, in fairness.
Yeah. Because it is... the characters don't get so overpowered that they have to get overpowered again. There's nobody that can destroy a planet. The most you've seen done is somebody is able to pretty much destroy an island, and that's because he has power over earthquakes.
Yeah, it's pretty set in stone as far as power levels go. You have very set levels of power, and it's outlined pretty clearly. You can tell who's going to be stronger than who at more or less the name and their title.
With One Piece, I feel it's mostly how unique each character can be with their powers, how creative they can work with it.
It's an interesting series. best point it has is the world.
Yeah,
It has
cool.
it has a world that is well designed. That's a good thing to have. It's very good for fan fiction as well, which a lot of people aren't taking advantage of like they should.
Yeah.
You don't see many good One Piece fics.
Yeah, I was doing that Persona One Piece crossover, and somebody just put in a review. I think it was a while ago actually. Please update Velvet Pirates, which is what it was called, and I'm like, because it's such a big world.
If I can ask, how does that work?
Persona crossover
with One Piece, yeah.
I just kind of inserted.
There's a Persona Devil Fruit, basically.
Yeah, there's a Persona Devil Fruit. I just kind of inserted the characters into it, made them part of it.
Okay, yeah,
that they were from the beginning, and then they just got different Devil Fruits.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was thinking was happening. Just like, oh, they've always just been a part of it.
Yeah, it was okay.
There's really. It was one of the first crossovers I did. Like, if I were to go back to it, I could probably do it a lot better.
I imagine you could, yes.
But rewriting it right now would just... I don't really want to do that.
It's a lot more effort than you're willing to put in when you've got other stuff on your plate.
Yeah, and if I have a good idea for it, I will go back and, make a new story or something. But as it stands, I'm not a big fan of the way it was going. It just seemed to be...
You basically made Chie Nami XP, which was a little bit...
Yeah,
I wasn't a fan of that. So.
It was like I said, it was when I was newer at writing.
Yeah.
Biggest.
Biggest what?
The biggest thing on my plate for editing would probably be the first chapter I wrote, which was bullshit in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. That was completely off topic. Thank you for that, Ethan. That was good.
No problem.
Yeah. It's good to have input, I guess. So yeah, One Piece, great world, mediocre characterization. The plot's pretty good. The plot's pretty great. I'll give it that.
I feel like it can actually go on for, at least another 600 chapters.
Yeah, that's apparently pretty much the plan.
This is my question though. Have they kind of lost focus over One Piece? The treasure.
I don't know. I haven't been reading it that recently, so...
Like, he still wants to be king of the pirates, but, I think they actually still have, an idea of, One Piece is over here. No, wait, it's over there. No, wait, it's over there. They're still kind of looking for it, but Luffy's got stuff on his plate. He wants to, take control of... He wants to make Fishman Island his turf so they can be free from, their oppressor, which is one of the 4, big pirate, Yonko.
Yeah.
And so he's going on his way to basically challenge them, but he's basically forced to go one way or another because in the new world that he's in, it's actually called the New World, his compass can only point him into two or three different islands, and he's just going to kind of pick and choose a direction at random. So he's working his way over there, but it's just he was running into obstacles along the way.
It's a good thing, too, because that is a decent explanation for why no one has found One Piece yet.
Because the New World, it's just, you basically go to a random island.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if they're going to do, a treasure planet thing where, the core of the planet, or just somewhere very deep underneath the planet, is the treasure.
No, I think actually...
the treasure's on the Red Wall.
In Whitebeard's flashback, he had a flashback with, Gold D. Roger. And in that, Roger told him, what island it was on. And now we don't know where that island is.
It was Raftel, right?
Yeah, I think it was. But,
Anyway.
Don't know exactly the whole story behind that.
One Piece is probably going to come out on top in this list.
Yeah, One Piece is pretty good.
It's pretty solid. It's number 1 in Japan right now.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Got Chopper.
There was a crossover with One Piece, Dragon Ball Z, and Toriko, where Luffy and Goku and Toriko fought.
It won.
Basically, Goku didn't even go Super Saiyan, I don't think. I think he went Super Saiyan, 1. And still, you could tell that Luffy and Toriko had to, double team on him to try to do anything, which they still kind of couldn't. I mean, Goku punched Luffy and his head and his head wouldn't, like, snap him back, and it came back and hit him.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, because he's made of rubber. But the ultimate winner of it was the fourth participant in the fight, Hercule, who was hiding, and they all got knocked out of the ring except for Hercule.
Okay, sure, whatever. I don't give a shit about shonen crossovers.
The weakest guy from all of DBZ. Well, weakest technical
whatever.
Z fighter, I guess.
Still, don't care about Dragon Ball. Yeah. Right.
Sadness.
So,
Okay,
yeah,
now on
One
to
Piece.
the final shonen one.
Which I have absolutely nothing to say on, so you guys have at it.
Naruto.
Oh, God.
I'm putting it below Bleach.
I'm not putting it below Bleach.
Personally, it's just
I don't care.
felt like it kind of like it was good at first, but for me it just kind of it dropped. Like there's a lot of
That's
plot points
true of
and
both
things
Naruto and Bleach. They both kind of fell off at some point.
True.
It's pretty clear what point Bleach fell off, but
Yeah.
Naruto, it's a little bit harder to pinpoint. Some people got pissed off with the Sasuke retrieval thing. Some
When
people
they made
fell off a
when
bit
they-
later after the
yeah.
time skip and stuff like that.
when they made the whole thing pretty much Sasuke's story, like stop calling it Naruto, just call it Sasuke for now. When they did that for like
Or just call
so
it Uchiha,
long.
yeah.
or Uchiha, it just, you know, when you do that and you have a main character who the show is named after, and the show ends up being about him trying to go after a guy who was pretty much a dick to him the entire time they knew each other. Like he did one nice thing for Naruto, which was take like needles for him, take knives for him.
But they shared a kiss.
Oh, God. Don't even go into that.
Don't go there. But
Yeah.
I never really saw a good connection between the two of them. And for him to just kind of be like, oh, wait, I must go and get this friend of mine back. He was like a brother to me. I'm like, I didn't see that.
I'm going to seem like such a hypocrite for this, but I'm still going to put it above Bleach. Even though Bleach had the one thing that I really rate above everything else, I'm still going to put Naruto above it for the world that it has. And that's for one specific reason. It's because I'm a fanfiction writer. And if you have a good world, then you can tell a lot of stories in it.
Yeah. That is one thing, because Bleach Bleach has the whole Soul Society thing, but it's not really explored.
Yep.
And they have and then they have the main city, and that's about it.
I think that's kind of my problem with Persona as well, because it's...
Rough.
Yeah. Anyway, that's kind of my problem with Persona, because it's not very open-ended. It's a very tight story.
Which is why if you want to really change everything...
Yeah, really that's kind of the main sort of trough for plot ideas, and that's speculation.
My Persona 3, M1N4770 starts with the very beginning of, let's change this.
My idea was... I remember I had an idea I bounced around with Casey for a while, which was, what if we did Persona 4 in a cyberpunk Blade Runner style setting?
Yeah, that was a fun idea. It's a shame we didn't actually capitalize on that.
I'm probably going to do it after Face Every Shadow.
Because oh, yeah, after we finish the 500,000 word story, let's talk about another one.
Because, maybe I'll do it with King of Zero.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
That'd be good for a beta.
Right,
I need to be part of the conversation.
what were we even talking about? Oh, yeah, Naruto. Yeah. It has a good world. It has terrible characterization and relationships between characters.
The main character, Kubo, has no... I think it's... Wait, who's writing? I forget.
Kishimoto?
Who's writing? Kishimoto. Yes, it was Kishimoto who can't write female characters.
Yeah,
that's a
as well.
big problem with me, if you can't write a good, strong female character. Because I like a lot of Joss Whedon and Terry Pratchett, so...
Yeah. He tried. I'll give him credit for trying, I guess. A little bit, tiny bit of credit. when he started writing Tsunade, it was a failed effort. I once read, I think it was by Rathanel, a story, I think it was called The Empty Cage. It was one of his stories, anyway, that pointed out a fatal flaw in the fact that Tsunade was made the Hokage, and that was... She basically went AWOL from a military organization for 12 years and then was installed as its head.
Yeah, they typically don't tend to do that in military operations.
Mostly not.
Typically, there's a desertion charge.
Yeah.
I was about to say, hey, it's that guy that deserted us. Let's give him a promotion.
Yeah.
I mean, desperate, sure.
That sounds like a Monty Python sketch.
Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? Yeah. So I can't even take that character seriously, even as the attempt of being a strong female character.
As Lady Tsunade.
Gross. He'd have to wear like grapefruits on his chest or something.
I was actually thinking
that'd be too small.
I was about to say like maybe watermelons.
Yeah.
No, just put John Cleese in there.
What, on the chest?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah. I'd probably put it... To list them, I'd probably put One Piece, Naruto, Bleach, Fairy Tail. Bleach and Fairy Tail may be on the same level.
I'd say, for me... I'd say One Piece, if only for the reason it's the only one I'm still following.
One Piece was the only one I ever followed.
And then I'd put, because Naruto just kind of lost me, really, I'd put that maybe on the same level with Fairy Tail, which also lost me. And I'll
Tristan's
put
leaving, by the way. Yeah. Bleach, yeah, at the end. Yeah. See you, Tristan. Bye now.
Bye.
Yeah. And don't come back.
See you later.
I guess.
Minute.
He keeps cutting shit off. That's all.
Oh, it's cutting out as in you're losing connection. Oh, okay. That was confusing.
Oh.
You phrased that poorly.
Might end up trapped.
Well, it's fine. We're kind of wrapping up anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess we're more or less done. So,
Casey, if you would do the honors.
Oh, I have to do the thing, don't I? All right. Thank you for listening to the Fandom Flux podcast, episode 6. If you want to contact us, you can do so through the Blogspot page, or you could contact us through our Twitter at Fandom Flux, or you could use our personal account and PM us through fanfiction.net. Links to our profile on the link dump.
Seriously, give us questions.
Yeah, that was a good question. Ate up a lot of time, so we'd love some more of those. That'd be great.
Maybe some more interesting questions too, like a bit more just like about the material, not necessarily the material, but actually like the process.
Okay. In other words, Ghost 132435. Thank you for loading the page. In other words, Ghost 132435. Ethan says fuck you.
I said fuck you to a lot of people, so it doesn't really bother me.
I think it's more a problem of bothering him, asshole.
Well, fuck you, Casey.
Blow me. All right.
Gladly.
There's some fanfiction right there.
All right. I think we'll call it quits there. So thanks for listening.